Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming for the Selenium Live training. Today is the day one, the first very basic session, and I want you to take you all through this journey of learning and mastering Selenium in the coming few weeks. Now, what are we gonna do in this first day, and how are we gonna approach? At a very high level, I've put a few things that may help you in understanding the flow of the entire training. So what we're going to do is we will start with the basics of Selenium using the IDE just for about 2 to 3 sessions so that you get a familiarity with things and you'll understand how the whole automation thing works with Selenium. We will then get into learning about simple Selenium WebDriver scripts. How do we build them and how do we execute them from Selenium IDE onto WebDriver using Eclipse. After that, we will get into a different project. So each project will try and take a new website and try and gather experience through it. It's going to be a very gradual movement. However, you will have to stay focused and make sure that you practice along with how we present things out here. The third project, we will do a good data driven framework using a significant amount of programming using core Java and JUnit. At that time, I will also be walking you through all the learnings that you need from a programming perspective and from your Java side that you need for the automation side of Selenium testing. Now, we are not trying to become Java developers here. So whatever extent of core Java and little bit of JUnit that we need, we will be going through that at that time. Finally, we will get into our last project about a keyword driven framework. And as we go through each level, you will see the complexity increases, your exposure to how we execute things from a real life, real world project perspective will grow significantly, and your confidence due to all that hands on stuff that we do will also become very good. Now, that is it, team. These are the only 2 slides that I have for the entire training now. Nothing else we're going to do on the slides. However, what I would love to do is start with a few poll questions. It just helps me gauge the audience, and it also helps you understand who are your fellow participants who are sitting around you across the globe and trying to attend the same session. So the first one that I want to ask everyone is this: how good are you at Selenium? So please choose some of the questions. I don't remember which have multiple answers. This is one. So this is just to get an idea of the audience and so that I can share with you all so you know where what is the session. Is this at a basic level or is this at a very advanced level? Okay. So I'm getting in the results. There are about 62% votes in. I'm going to give another 30 seconds for everyone to be able to participate. There are over 150 participants in this session right now, and people are constantly joining as we go through it. So please take a few seconds and fill this in. And it is great to see that out of this 150 odd people, we have over 90% votes in. That's great, team. So a few more seconds before I close this. So please take your time and put it there. All right, so there you go, 91% votes in. I'm going to close the poll and I will share the results. Can everyone see the results on the screen? So just in case it's not visible, especially during the recording, 58% of you are very new. So you kind of never touched it. That is the majority. And 36% of you are little here and there. So you've seen some exposure, probably IDE, probably WebDriver, but you want to get to the pretty good or expert level. I'm glad that we have a few of you who have been there, the 1%, 5%. So good to see that there is a distribution, but majority of you, over 94%, are pretty new to what we're trying to do. Okay, so that's good, and that is exactly what I assume, that most of you will not have significant hands-on experience. So let me ask you another question. Why do you plan to learn Selenium? And team, my intent is not to go through a lot of these theoretical aspects. I want to quickly understand your perspective and then be able to continue with the project one. Okay, so why is it that you want to learn Selenium? Is it because you want a better pay, better job, you want to get into your first job in software world, or you want to uh, because you love Selenium and Java? And team, this is a multiple choice question, so you can choose as many as you want. This is to understand where you are currently, what you're trying to do. So about 65% votes in. There are two or three more polls after this which I want to do, but let's see how's the votes coming in. All right, team, about 80% votes in. I'm going to close the poll so that we have significant time on the project one. So 88, okay, there you go. Let me wait for a second more. 91, there you go. That's good. Thank you. So there you go. So 40% better pay, 60% better job. Since I've given multiple choice, you'll see that all this will add up to more than 100. You want to get into your first job, you love Selenium and Java. So see, I'm glad that the fourth one I put it in there. I was scared that I'll get a very low number, but the fact that a few of you like Selenium and you like Java, and that is why you want to be able to learn, apart from probably a better pay, better job, and so on. So good, very good, team. The reason I'm running these polls is you are seeing firsthand what the other audience members are thinking as well. Okay, as a group, we are looking at what it is. Now, let me ask you this other question, team. This is very good. This is going to be interesting because I see a lot of people have gone through this struggle. Are you scared of learning Java or Selenium? Because see, it's simple like this. For example, how many of you know swimming? I should have had a poll there, but let's say it's very simple, team. Either you love swimming or you hate it or you're scared out of it, right? Why? Because there is no midway in between. You can't go in and say, I don't know swimming and still try and swim within 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet water, right? Because there's a lot of fear of drowning there. Why are we afraid out here? There is nothing for us to be really afraid about, but it is equally important because you're choosing a career line. Is this where you want to go? Is this where you want to spend time? And do you think you can learn it? Will you fail in learning it? Will you be good enough at it? And trust me on this, team, by end of this live training, you will be very good at it. All you need to do is have the confidence in me, have the confidence in yourself, and we will take the journey together. All right, so here's the poll, sharing the results. So 13% of you, yes, when this poll started, there were more than 50-60% who said yes. As the poll went into, and as I started talking a little bit about it, it has come kind of to 45% to kind of, and not at all, bring it on. So team, be in the last category here. All of you should get there. Okay, you should be not at all, bring it on. That is the kind of attitude we should have. And primarily because you will enjoy the flow, you will enjoy what you will see. Okay, so you got to be able to understand what are the different components and so on, and then you'll really enjoy it, automation. And before I do anything further with the polls anymore, I have two or three more. I'll leave it for later. But thank you so much, all of you, for participating in the poll. I really appreciate it. So now, what we're gonna do, team? The first thing is I'm gonna create a folder for this batch. I'm gonna say this is Selenium. Today's Jan 12th, right? Hyphen J12. Okay, training files. So all that I will do, I will put it as part of this folder, team. Okay, and we will be sharing it with the audience, all the members, and you will have access to it out here. So I'm going to create a new Google Sheet just to show you what we're going to do. So here I'm going to say this is project 1 Selenium IDE. Now, before I go further, let us talk about an application. We will take an application and then I will explain the application a little bit, and then we will talk about what we're going to do with the testing and then automation. Fair enough? Now, at this point, team, I want to make sure that you all can see my screens because I'm kind of navigating between two screens. I just want to make sure that you have the visibility. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring this back here. So there you go. So project 1 Selenium IDE. So here I'm going to write very high level something called as a test plan, or rather an automation plan. Okay. Anything that you don't know out here, absolutely do not be worried, because there's no complexity at all in what I'm mentioning. Okay. I am assuming that the participants have no automation skill, no programming skill. In fact, I'm also assuming that you don't even have significant manual testing skill. That is my assumption, and that is where I'm going to proceed from. So here I'm creating a new sheet so that everything that we do is, one, documented, two, well planned, so we are able to know what we have done, how we have done. Three, you'll be able to take the same methodology and repeat it for your hands-on practice. All right. So here I'm going to talk a little bit about something called as application under test. At the end of the day, we are talking about, let me open paintbrush, two things here, team. The first thing that we're talking about is automation. The second thing is testing. The whole purpose is to try and understand how could we automate the testing process. All right. 95% of the time we will be spending on the automation portion, not the testing. Testing is a very easy thing that will follow after that, but it is a very strategic, and you have to plan it and execute it in a very clean manner. Okay. When we are spending most of the time under automation, it will become critical for you to understand how automation works, how do we do things, and so on. So the first thing we will do as part of anything that we do as a project, we will talk about the plan. What are we trying to do? What is the application under test? What domain does it come under? Type of testing that we will perform, and any scope, right? That is the first thing. The second thing that we will do is, I will talk about something called as test cases. So what do I mean by test cases? Test cases are nothing but simple steps that we will perform on a given application, which is any website: Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, IT Learn, Microsoft, any application, okay, SAP, and be able to write a different steps that we could reproduce and see if a specific functionality is working correctly, yes or not. Okay, so I will talk about a test case. I'll say there's a test case ID to it, a description to it. All right, that's it. These are the only two things that I'll talk about here, and then we will talk about test step and a description to it. Okay, I'm going to put everything into one sheet for now so that it's easy for you to understand, and then we will expand it. We will go further as we go along. I'm going to make sure that there's a little coloring to it, so that way we can easily distinguish what we're doing, how we're doing. So team, while I'm doing this, a quick check. Please use the question and answer section to answer back to me and say if audio is good, the screen is good, and my flow is fine for everyone. So far everything good? Just good, not perfect. All right. All right, great. Thank you so much. So let's continue. Now let's talk about the application. $1,000,000 question. At the end of the day, team, doesn't matter what we are. It doesn't matter if we are developers, testers, automation or not. It is all about the application. So in this case, I'm going to take a simple application called carmax.com. I will tell you why I'm taking this application, and then I will explain to you what functionality we wish to do. The reason I'm taking CarMax, team, number one, it is simple for you to understand the application, what it does. And this is automotive. Automotive is the industry. If the application, understanding the application is simple, then your focus will not be what is the application doing, but it will be on the automation part. And that is how it will become easy for us to master Selenium. All right. So I just want to make sure that you understand this and we go forward on that ground. Now, the next reason is there are enough form and fields out here that will give us the ability to experiment and be challenged enough on getting the right output. Okay. All right. Now, let's talk about functionality of this application at a high level and what pieces of this are we going to test. This may be the application that we may use for project 1, project 2, probably a little bit of project 3 also, but we'll try and keep changing what we do and so on. The intent is very simple, team. Take you from step 1 to 3 gradually, but it's gonna increase in complexity. By the time we finish our project 4, you'll become a master at Selenium, WebDriver, and automation frameworks using core Java. That is the idea. Remember that. All right. All right. Great. So now, what I wanted to say is CarMax. So what is CarMax? I'm assuming that some of you or most of you know about it. CarMax is a car sales office, store, retail center that helps you in going and buying cars. Unlike a dealership, which is specifically selling one type of a car, CarMax is trying to sell different types of cars, usually more focused on used cars. So the customers or visitors who come to this website are typically trying to come and say they want to search for, let's say, hey, I want to buy a Beamer, a BMW, and they'll say I want to search for a BMW X5, so that it's both an SUV, it's a family car, and it's got the power of Beamer. And even before I could hit search, the website started showing me some results, and they're going to say that, okay, 250 miles from my zip code, and I'll say update. And once I do that, I'm getting the updates out here. I'm going to go in and look at the cars, what is being displayed. And then I will see, hey, you know what? I want to see xDrive 50i. This is the model I'm interested. And I want to see which is a specific range of this price. And you'll see that suddenly there are no cars found. So primarily, the whole application is to create a user experience where a user is able to go in and very easily try and search for cars. All right. So now let's talk about one scenario that we can talk about, which users do perform, and that becomes a functionality. And then that will also become your test case, our test case that we need to test. Why do we test? So that the user does not face an issue while executing that steps. We will make sure to test it. It's just like you're cooking a dish and you would love to taste it before you serve it. You don't want to serve and see that it's too hot, it's too oily, it's too spicy. Whatever you could do during the preparation, you're going to try and test. Hot enough, cold enough, time enough, all the preparation, we're trying to do the test, right? So the same way. Now let's talk about one simple functionality, team. Okay. I'm going to go to find a car. I'm going to click on used cars. I am a user who's trying to do this. Okay. And let us say that I'm going to select Honda. And what I want to put here is the maximum I want to spend is, let's say, 30,000. And I am not interested in all of these uh, years. I'm only interested till, let's say, 2009. And I have now performed these steps and I want to see how many are there within 50-mile radius of my zip code. This is all I want to do. So did you see the steps that I performed, team? Now, every step that I've done needs to get documented so that we could repeat it and test it. So now what I'm going to do is I'll go to the, so type of testing, functional testing is what we will do. And we will also talk about something called as regression as we go along. Scope is few test cases. That's it. We're not trying to do the entire application at the moment. All right. So now let me put some of the color here. All right. So test cases. So the first test case I'm going to call this as used car search. Okay. The first step, team, is go to the website, which is carmax.com. This is my first step. What I will do is, so that we can easily see how many steps we have, I will also put a test step ID out here and say this is the first step. All right. Are we talking anything about automation in here? Not at all. This is just how we're going to do as a manual user. Then I will show you how to teach your automation tool to be able to repeat the same thing. And there are going to be about few steps. I'm going to copy this here so that I don't have to keep writing. And this is going to be this equals this plus 1. That way it keeps increasing. There you go. So first go to the website, blah blah blah. Then we're going to click on under find a car, click on used cars. Under find a car, click on used cars. Next, once we click on used cars, what is the next step, team? I'm gonna arrange the windows a little bit. If I change it too much, the layout will become a mobile layout most probably, but right now it's okay. So this is good for us. Then click Honda under the make by make. What is under the bad English? Under by make. And since Honda is a specific keyword and by make, I will put them under quotes. It's easy to use, to understand. Even for used cars, I'm going to do the same. Team, if you believe that I'm going slow, it is deliberate because I want you to understand the flow. Once you get this concept well frozen in your mind, it will become a smooth move from there on. All right. Use car search, click on Honda. I'm going to perform the same step again. And then I'm going to say price maximum is 25,000. That's what we're going to select. Select max price as 25,000. Oops, not 250. Then put miles within as 50 miles. Enter zip code as 91367. Click on button update. Right. Now, this is what we have done manually. Now, if I share this with any of the team members out here who are participating and say, let's say, let me pick one, Sandy. If I give this to you and say, Sandy, can you test this? Can you repeat the steps? Yes. Will you be able to do it? Yes. Why will you be able to do it? Or anyone from the audience? Because it is clear. I have put all the required information that we as humans can understand. Now, the reason we want to teach an automation tool will become very clear to you as we go along, team. But remember these three important words, and I keep using them very frequently, and they're called as E. That is E. R. That's E, team. I don't know why the horizontal line in between is not coming. Let me try again. E, R, A. E is for efficiency. R is for reusability. A is for accuracy. These are the three fundamental building blocks to automate anything, team. So, number one, if Sandy is going to take, let's say, 5 minutes to test this, then an automation tool should take 2 minutes. If not, there is no point in it. Number two, we should be able to reuse it over and over again. It is make it once and keep doing it over and over. Just like your automation, automobile manufacturing plant. They build the factory, all the things, most of the things are done by robots and they are doing all the thing. Then the other thing is they have to be accurate. It doesn't matter how good the automation is if the results are coming incorrect. So if a manual test engineer is able to do a better job accurately, then that test case is not well automated. It is not a good job. We will not do it. So remember these three thumb rules: ERA, efficiency, reusability, accuracy. Everything else, return on investment, effort in building, be it what kind of a coverage we have, all of those things are within the whole circle of being efficient, reusable, and accurate. Now, if I need to teach a robot to do these things, what should I do? I should be able to give clear instructions, and the robot should be able to execute it accordingly. All right. Now, Selenium is such a robot that will help you do automated executions of these steps, but you have to teach it. Unfortunately, team, I don't know what you know about Selenium, but Selenium or QTP or any other automation tool are some of the most dumbest tools on the planet. They have no intelligence by themselves. They are only as smart as you are. All right, that is the fact. However, they are very good in efficiency, reusability, and accuracy. So you have to teach it in a very smart manner for it to understand how it works. Now, there are two ways to teach Selenium how the automation can work or how it should learn to automate. The first step is the record and run way using IDE. All right. It is an important step for everyone to learn so that you get an idea of how it is done. The second one is writing your own custom scripts or code and seeing how and telling Selenium how to do it. So there are two ways you can teach Selenium how to do automation. Now we will look at the first step using the record and run way using IDE, and between this and this there are thousand other ways to do it. But primarily there are two fundamental ways: using IDE or writing your own custom script using Eclipse or any platform and few of the programming language that it supports. Okay, so now are we ready to look at IDE, Selenium IDE, and see how it works? All right. So far, any questions? Great. What is IDE? IDE is the short form for Integrated Development Environment team. Okay. In this case, Selenium IDE is a tool that Selenium provides. What is the website for Selenium? If you go to seleniumhq.org, that is the home page for Selenium. Now, Selenium IDE or Integrated Development Environment is one of the first steps for us in learning Selenium. And what we have to do is you have to open Firefox, and this IDE comes as a add-on to it. Okay, you don't need to install anything, team. You just need to go to Firefox and you will be able to add it on to your Firefox browser very simply by click. So click on Selenium IDE once you go to seleniumhq.org, and it will let you install it onto your Firefox plugin. Okay, so you can go to Selenium IDE plugins page and be able to install it directly onto your Firefox browser. Once you've done that, you will see that it is there under the tools option and out here Selenium IDE team. The good thing about Selenium is it is free, it is open source. You don't have to pay anything. There's no trial period to you. Okay, so there are contributors from across the globe who are participating in making this a better product over and over. But at the same time, it is up to us to take it to a large extent and see the power of it. So now you can click on Selenium IDE. Once you do that, it launches and it gives you the version number of what it is. Let me talk about this integrated development environment, which is a very big word for what this tool is. This is one of the simplest automation UIs or user interfaces that you can see. Very easy to see, very easy to understand. It is like a child's play. Honestly, that easy, simple cakewalk. Let me talk about very simply what this is. It's got a few areas, team. Selenium IDE, you'll see here. Once we start doing something called as a record, the button here, you will see that it will start seeing all the steps we perform, and it will start putting those steps in this section out here. All right, that is it. There's nothing more to be really worried about. Everything else is a simple thing. As you use it, as I show it, you'll be able to understand and be able to master that. All right, now, so the reason I'm showing you Selenium IDE before we go there is because this is building blocks. We need to know a lot about automation, and once we do that, it'll become easy. So now the first thing I'm going to do is make sure that this is turned on. This is like a push button. So now it is turned on. Now it is recording. Once I click, it will stop recording. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to click on close the Selenium IDE browser and just keep the CarMax open. At this point, team, I am saying by using this record button, Selenium, look at what I am doing on this browser and repeat it after me. You will have to remember the steps that I perform and make sure that you note them down so that you can repeat them later. Okay, or redo them and show me what I've done. So the first step, what did we do, team? Remember? So these are the steps. We will perform these steps, but this time we are teaching IDE what steps they are. So the first step is we're going to go to find a car and click on used cars. Observe what happens on the left when we do this. Okay, as soon as we click or do something, there are three columns out here that will get filled: command, target, and value. What are these? We will come to. But let us see how the record process works and the run process works. Used cars, we have come here. What is the next step? Are we going to click on Ford? Yes. No, it's not Ford, it is Honda. How does it matter? Of course it matters. That is our test case. When I said the test case is Honda, we better be sure that we're doing Honda. If you want to do Ford, write another test case. Or when we come to test data, we'll change it there. But you have to replicate it as you've planned, team. Okay? Honda. Now we click on Honda. And then what is the next step, team? I keep forgetting. So let's go back. And that's the reason I don't have to use so much of my brain in remembering. I have everything here. So click Honda under buy make. I did that. Then select max prices 25,000. That is the next step. See, as I do a specific activity, there is information getting captured. Three columns: command, target, value. Only for the last one, we've got value also filled. Everything else, value was blank before this. What was the next step? Put miles within as 50 miles. So miles here is there. I'm gonna put this as 50 miles. Okay, so I've selected 50 miles and that has come up here. The next one is enter zip code as 91367. So we go here and we will enter zip code as 91367. Sometimes, team, you will notice that since the value is already there, it will say, hey, I see that value there, so I will not do any step out here. So for example, did you see it never wrote anything to do that is with 91367? Why? It was already there, so it thought, hey, it's already there, why am I entering a new value there, the same value? So what you should do is try and change it to something else. Okay, and then go back and change it to what you want. See what I'm doing? I am trying to tweak based on the learning pattern of this tool. So your ability to understand how Selenium learns is what will make our lives easy. Okay, now click on update and we will get all the results out here. We've got 172 cars found. Now what we have done, team, is we have just made one test case using the Selenium IDE for automation testing. Now I can simply go here and say it is no longer test case or untitled. We will right click and say properties. Under properties, I'm going to change the name of this to car max TC001. See, now I'm able to link this test case to that specific test case that we wrote. As I do things, I'm able to show you the features. And the first time you get introduced to it. Second time you will get it better. As you practice along with me, you'll become a master. Okay. Now, what we have done, team, is record. So I can stop this. There is nothing like save and so on. Automatically we've done here. It gets saved on that test case. Now what we need to do is, okay, Selenium, you've learned something. Show back to me what you have learned. Do that and show me. All I need to do is click on this green play button, which is gonna run this specific test case. As you take your mouse over each and every section, you will see what those features will do. We are only focusing on a few at a time, so it is easy for us to learn. So I have clicked on this and now you will see something happening on the website. Exactly the same thing that we have asked to be done. Now, did it perform everything? How do we know it has performed everything? How do we know that it has performed everything? Either we have to go and check, but was it not too fast? You have the ability to be able to slow that test down, the speed, by using this bar and say, you know what, I want you to run slow, not because of the fact that uh, um, we want the efficiency to go back just so that we can see what you're doing. That is what I'm talking with Selenium right now. That is a conversation that I'm having. Okay, find a car. So we've clicked on that. Do you see this 50 miles, 91300, then 67, and then update? So each of those steps are getting executed. All right. Now, the second section where you can also see the execution being done is this log out here. The log out here shows all the execution. What was our intent? To teach Selenium IDE test case 001, and it has learned this test case. Now let us talk about something else. Great, so you've learned something new, very good. Now let us talk about something similar, but let's change the test case to something else. Let's say we go back to the main page. Am I trying to teach something to Selenium IDE? Yes, that means that I have to start recording. But if I record, it will be recording on the same test case. What I'm going to do is either right click and say a new test case, or you could do it from your menu bar as well. Okay, we have this as a IDE which is opened up as a toolbar. So team, before I go further to the second test case, let me ask, any of you members have questions or any issues in what we have done so far? So I'm going very slow, team, but trust me, day 1 will be slow, day 2 will be little faster, day 3 and 4 will get faster. From there we will maintain a pace, we will learn new things every day, but 1 month, team, and then you see how much you'll do. Okay, running on Windows and Mac is the same. It's the same thing because it's a browser based tool. Okay, a IDE, and then once it comes to Eclipse and so on, it will be almost the same. Okay, how do we get values? Not yet, we're too early. So team, keep your questions only relative to what we have covered so far. Okay, I understand you have questions and your questions deserve answers, but unfortunately now may not be the point for me to answer that question. It may be at a later point. Do you have to type the URL in the base URL? Good question. Not necessarily. So let's say that I right click and say new test case. All right, and here I'm going to rename this and I'll call this as, oops, what did I do? Delete, right click, properties, and I'll change this to Facebook. Okay, now what I will do, team, I will open up Facebook out here. So let's see, we are in the Facebook test case. Is the recording on? Yes. Now let's go to facebook.com. Okay, and now here I'm going to see that, hey, I have all this information. Let's say I want to enter the first name, so I'll say Karthik. Okay, do you see the recording is happening? Email, let's say kk@karthik.com, and that information is happening. Now do you see the base URL? It has gone to facebook.com. So I'll stop this test recording. Let's go back to our CarMax TC001. Here it is CarMax. So the base URL is picked up by where you start your recording from. Okay, as you change, it'll keep changing. Okay, so team, there are over 160 participants, so there are a few questions that have come in. Let me make sure that I answer everything. Now, the questions may be repeating or the questions may not be related to what we're doing, so I may ignore them. But team, if you still have questions, continue to put in the chat, or I'll show you the support system which you can use offline. How do we get values later? Can IDE be used to capture the DOM objects? Nalini, to the largest extent, we will use IDE only to do the basic learning. Once we get into so yeah, this is for a question for a later time. Let me not spend time there. How do you decide the time taken to page to load? We will come to that. Does it work with other browsers too? IDE is specifically for Firefox, but once you develop it, you take it to Eclipse or any other environment and you can run it on multiple browsers. To is used only for record and run. Is Selenium IDE used for record and run? I use it for a few more things. I will show it to you, Pooja, sorry, as we go along. Okay. Selenium IDE. How can we use right click on any web object? Again, too early. How did you launch the IDE screen? Okay, so the IDE screen launch was very simple. Once you have your Firefox browser open, if you go under tools, once you've added this as an add-on, Okay, you will be able to see it out here. Okay, so you can go to tools, add-ons, and search for, let's say, Selenium IDE. All right, and you get the Selenium IDE out here. Look at the one. Um, this is such an old one, last updated, and Selenium IDE. This is still last updated. But again, I'm showing you the ones which are there. So my add-ons, you will see Selenium ID is there, 2.80. Okay, that's the version. So you will see it under tools and Selenium IDE. All right, team, let's go back to the next test case. I want to be able to quickly see what we're doing with the next test case, and you will get an idea where we're getting into day 2 before we end the session. And I will come back and take few more questions at that time. All right, so now I want to design one more test case, team. The test case that I'll talk about, and just because of the time constraint, I'm not going to write the English for it, the manual test case right now, but I'm expecting you to do it, or we will do it after this. So the first thing I'll do is right click and say new test case. Instead of untitled, I'm going to say properties and change it to CarMax TC002. This is the name I'm giving to it. Okay, why 001, 002, and so on, so that when I keep increasing it, there is a order maintained alphabetically, and so up to 1,000 test cases, it will all fit in there. Okay, now I'm going to see something like payment calculators. So let me record this and show you what I'm doing, and then we will do reverse engineering and go back, write the test case. Okay, so I'm going to click on payment calculators out here. All right, sorry, that's the first thing I did. Next, this is, let's talk about what a payment estimator will do. If you give the vehicle price, tax details, down payment, how much you're going to make, how long a loan you want, it will give you the value back as to what will be your payments. So let's talk about a vehicle that's, let's say, priced at $45,000. And let us say you're paying about $5,000 for tax, titles, and fees. And you have, let us say, about $15,000 as cash that you want to give as a down payment. And let's say the finance rate APR is 4.5. And you are taking, why is it in red? I think it wants a specific number, not a decimal in it. And let's say you're taking a 48 months option, and we're going to click on calculate my monthly payment. As you did all of this, did you notice, team, that it has started recording a few steps out here? In fact, I don't know why it is taking the select window. I don't think there are multiple windows here. But just the fact that I had opened one more window and closed it, it probably got confused. Doesn't matter. But once the execution is done, you can see that the estimation has come here and what your monthly payment is gonna be, right? And now, can Selenium see this? You have to teach it to be able to see that. And how you're going to see teach Selenium IDE to be able to identify this and get those values and so on, we will be looking into the next session. But what is very important out here, team, is to understand the command, target, and value that I will talk about right now. Let's first stop the recording and see if the execution can be done. Whenever I do a recording, I want to make sure that it is executing well. See, did you see this, team? Now the select window was causing an issue. I kind of gauged it as the recording was happening, but how do I know that the execution stopped or there was an issue? Now, whenever you face an issue during your execution of the scripts, be it at IDE or at a code level, be very, very excited and happy, because that is the best trainer that you will find, team. The more challenges that you will face, the more issues that you will face, the better and easier it will be for you to master things. All right. Now, the first thing is we were executing it and it failed one time. If you want to see exactly where and how, you can go to the log. Remember the log I was talking about? And you will see that it executed playing test case CarMax TC002, executing open. Open is basically a command. It does certain thing, then some other command, and then it says window does not exist, blah, blah, blah. Now, this, why it has happened, I know it. How do you know it that it has happened, and what is the solution? Now you'll know it, because I'm going to show it to you. Tomorrow you face the same issue, you're going to Google it, or you're going to use the technical help desk, and then you'll know, or see the videos, you'll know. It is a constant discovery, team. Oh, this is how it works. Oh, this is how it works. The more number of times you come to hit that phrase, the better you'll become, the more you're going to love the automation world. All right. So now the easiest for me to do is re-record instead of trying to figure around this at the moment. Okay. I want to show a quick recording again and then it'll become easy. So I'm going to delete this, right click, delete. And I'm going to right click again and add a new test case. We will call this as car max TC002. Now what I will do, team, I'm going to open uh, a new Firefox browser. Right click and say new window. All right. And let's start the record here. And let's see if it is having an issue still or it is fine. So carmax.com, payment calculators. Now do you see that select window didn't come? So why did that select window, something came up? What is that? You don't know, but there's an issue that happened. How did you know there was an issue that happened? When we did an execution, it failed at one section. You will also see when the execution is done, the lines become green for saying that the execution has happened for that step, or red saying that there's a problem. Then there are two more colors, dark green and yellow. We'll come to it as well. But that colors, team, trust me, I am not in a very comfortable zone. Why? Because I'm not an IDE guy. Of course, I like IDE, it's a starting point. Of course, it is important for me to use that to teach everyone, and I still continue to use it for certain activities. However, I just love to be in the coding section at the Eclipse side or the Java, Python, whatever languages you want. That is where the real happiness will be for all of us. Okay, but let's see how this works without giving any kind of a credit away from it, taking any credit away from it. So link clicked, vehicle price 45,000, tax 5,000, down payment 10,000, got reduced by 5,000 in 5 minutes, finance rate has increased to 5, contract length is now 60 months, and click on calculate my monthly payment, and we've got the results out here. Now, hopefully the recording is done correctly. The only way for you to know for sure is repeat the test case. So say play the test case and see. As the execution is happening for any line, you'll see that is in yellow. If an error happens, it will become as red. If there is a verification that we're trying to do, it will come up as dark green. That is how IDE works, team. Now, before I lose you guys to anything, I want to talk about these three things. I'll try and save this if I can. A quick second. Team, the only thing that I'm really not good at is I start slow. I have to start slow. There's nothing I can do about it because I have to go through so many concepts with you. Okay. So day one to Selenium training. I'm just saving these images that I'm taking so that just in case it'll be handy for you. I'm going to open up a new image, team, and I'm going to talk about these three things. Okay, command, target, value. So what are this command, target, and value? When you want to teach a robot, a tool, or an automation to do something, for you, you have to provide it a certain amount of information or input. For example, if you want your car to drive, okay, at a specific speed, what is the information you will provide? You will give it as an input using your accelerator. Okay, so every time there are three things that will become important. What is the command that you will give? What is the target that we have? And what is the value? So what is the command for driving the car and accelerating? So we'll say uh, push the pedal down, the accelerator pedal, the gas pedal. That is what you're going to press it in. Okay, so the command is not pedal, sorry, the command is push. Okay, what are you going to push? You're going to push the gas pedal. That is your target. Okay, how much are you going to push? The effort or amount that you push, and that will get you the result. All right, do you understand this from a real world perspective? Let us say you want to call your friend. Okay, so what is it? The command is call someone. the target is your friend, and let's say the name is Adam. All right, and the value, you don't have to worry, it will automatically pick up from the contact list, and that's why it's blank. Similarly, in an automation world, what will happen is you have to give three new things, team. So save as, uh, come on, this will become tough. I have to keep doing this every time. Day one, two. And in an automation world, there are three things that become very important for us. The first is the command, target, and value. The command is nothing but what you want to do. That is the command. The what portion of your step is called as a command. The target is where you want to do. Okay, that is how automation is done, team. So what do you want to do? Where you want to do? What, where? What, where? A series of these answers will what will run your script. And the value is, now in this case, the value is any additional information that is needed to be able to execute the what at the where. All right, now let us go back into our IDE and see what and where. What do I want to do? I want to open, and the target is just a slash. Why? Because we're talking about opening the base URL. It will take that directly. Next one, what do you want to do? It wants to click and wait. Where does it want to click? On a link named payment calculators. Any value? It doesn't need anything else. Next command, it wants to type. What is the target? Blah, blah, blah. And this becomes a nightmare for you and me. Not really, but something that we don't know yet. And we will explore this by using to learn to identify elements. Now, the easiest portion in all of this is the what, team. It is finite. You don't have to use any brain. It is a list here. In fact, if you go under command and see, you will see all the whats that are there. What do you want to do is all here. Okay, it's a finite list, and you can easily select from the drop down to be able to do it. The little challenge and also the most fun that you'll have is the where. That is all about automation. To do that, we will talk about element identification and how we identify. First, we will see how Selenium identifies it, and then how do we become masters at it. Okay. One of the biggest things that you and I we have to really master, team, is the identification called where, and we will talk about different approaches like XPath, ID, name, CSS, and so on. You should master one, and it will be easy for you to learn anything else. Okay, so as part of this training, I will show you XPath, and then I will also provide you the videos that I have to be able to do it with any other identifying methods. Okay, this is what we will get to a little bit in the next session, team, and there we will understand about objects or elements, the properties that are used to identify them, properties that are used to describe them, and the methods that we can perform on them. It's going to be very interesting, and it is all about automation. This is the fundamental laws of automation. Any tool will go through the same thing. So now once you learn this tool, at least learning QTP or Ranorex or any other automation tool will become 50% of the effort, team, because fundamental concepts of automation, the approach, and a basic level of programming language is all the same across all of this. Team, that is it from my side today. Let me see if there are any relevant questions that are coming from now on that I can answer quickly, please. So if you have any question that you put earlier not been answered, please put it back again for me, because there are many questions up there. Second, please make sure that it is only relevant to the session that we had today. Anything to do with purchase, sales, inquiry on the schedule, or anything else, team, please reach out to the team by email or the live chat, and my team will be ready to help you. Okay. So any questions that I could answer which are in there. What is the limitation of ID? We will see, Hima. As we go through it, we will know it. How is job market for Selenium comparing with HP QTP? Vic, let's do this right now. I'm going to go into Why am I forgetting the website name? Simplyhire.com, and we're going to compare two. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Selenium, and I'm going to do a trend analysis. So Selenium trends, how is the job market for the last 2 years? Actually, this is still a March 1st to April 1st, 2014. That is what it is. And let's compare it with QTP. Okay, do you see this? Green is Selenium and blue is QTP. So Selenium has significantly taken over QTP. It has got an edge over it right now. Okay. If you see overall, there has been the fluctuation that has been happening for both the tools. But if you notice that it is still having the upper hand compared to uh, QTP team. All right. Uh, what next? Let me see the questions again. I hope you got what I showed, Vic. All right. Can we get the nav to install ID on Mac? Yes, absolutely. Can you please show how to install ID? Why don't I send you a quick document? There's nothing to install, team, really, for ID. Okay, it's just an add-on with the Firefox that we could quickly do it. How can you explain different colors used for commands? So, not really colors for commands. These are um, colors for execution of steps. It is not by a command. If it is executed fine, it is light green. If it has a verification in it passed, dark green. If it is executing a step, yellow. And if it has a failure, red. And team, this is all theory. Why are we even talking about it? Let's not be worried about it. Let's get the concept. Those colors will become easily embedded in your brain as we go along. Don't put your effort towards anything that is not needed right now. The concept, the approach is what you should focus on. Is Selenium an automation tool or just an API? This is an API. It is a major automation tool. Can I use this ID with Chrome or IE? Nope, Firefox. Support Apple in Apple iPad? No, you have to use a Mac or a Windows machine to be able to do this. I have not tried it on an iPad, but you could do execution. I don't know about creating, because you can't generate Eclipse and all that, so you can't really do it. Let's see. In real-time projects, do we use the Selenium ID? Uh, Anita, yes, we do use Selenium ID in real-time projects also, but not that much. Very, very minimal. Okay. But there are some companies, let's say they're at a very starting phase. They may just say, you know what, let's try IDE only a little bit. Where are all the videos to watch in Selenium for premium members? On the website, if you go to itelearn.com, you'll see everything there. itelearn.com, and click on the online courses, Selenium training videos. There you go. Homepage for Selenium tutorials. All the videos are out here. All right, there are hundreds of videos, team. So I want to give you a guided tour on what to do, what to watch. What you should do is make sure that you only watch the videos that I ask you to, and don't spend your time getting lost anywhere. Stay with me. It is a guided tour. Stay with the guide. Be focused with me, and you'll get the right results. All right. All right. What next? Let me see the questions. So team, just to let you know, there are 150 participants right now. The ideal size for the batch is 100. I do not really recommend to do more than that. There are already about 65-70 who are paid and joined into this batch because they come from most, they are prepaid and so on. So just letting you know, please try and take your decisions quickly on what you want to be doing. There are over closer to 600 people registered, and I'm sure they all want to evaluate and see if it's the right timing, right course, right trainer for them. Selenium is a free tool, yes. For objects, can you repeat three different concepts you talked about at the end? Yeah, so basically, that I will explain to you tomorrow when we get there, right? I'm going to walk you through at length how it's going to work. This is basically properties that I use to identify, properties that I use to describe, and the methods that you can perform on a given object. Okay, depending on the type of the object. Would be covering various methods using data-driven testing. So we will do our way of data-driven testing. There are multiple ways of doing the data-driven testing and approach. What we don't cover in the live, you will have part of the video tutorials. All right, team, I think that's about it towards the end of the session. If there are any questions that are unanswered, please feel free to send me an email. But I'm sure related to today's session, there may not be many. Just the fact that it's a simple idea and simple approach, as we go along, it'll become more important. So I'm not sure if any of you have seen this. There's quick 2 or 3 poll questions, team. I just want to use it. What do you like the most about the Selenium? Do you like the IDE, WebDriver, Core Java JUnit, or automation frameworks? I want you to know. You can choose multiple options here and select it, because this becomes very important. Your liking could be not because you know it so well, because you've heard so much about certain things and it looks interesting, it looks exciting, or there may be big future for it. So think about it, team. I'm not going to keep this poll up for too long, so please quickly finish it up so that we can move on. So I'm going to close the poll in quick 3, 2, 1, go. Sorry, team. I just had to cut it because we're running short of time. So here are the results. So 37% of you on Selenium IDE. The majority are saying automation frameworks, Selenium WebDriver, Core Java JUnit. Perfect. And that is what I want you to focus on. Okay. IDE is not really a focused area for us. It is a starting point. Okay. But we're going to move away from there very quickly. Let me see if this I'll leave it for tomorrow. All right, team. So that's it from my side for today. If there are any questions that were important and still unanswered, I apologize. I will take it up tomorrow. I am running short of time at the moment. I just want to be able to appreciate the time that's being spent by everyone. See you back tomorrow, team. It's a continuation of today's session. We will start from where we left off. For those of you watching the video, you'll be able to catch up by having watched this video. We will record all the sessions. So even if you are not able to attend all the sessions or you miss any, you'll be able to catch up through this video. Thank you so much for joining and being part of this session today. See you tomorrow. Take care. Bye now. Thank you, everyone. Bye there.